I glop it on and pop it.
And just to make you guys know, when we yell at each other, she's like my little sister from another mister. So don't come at her like you interrupted. It's fine.
Yeah, let's move over to this missing Chicago CPS teacher, Linda Kathleen Brown. Steph has a lot of experiences in cases like this, and we don't know exactly what the
particularly in
details are.
Chicago.
Particularly in Chicago.
Yeah, the Drew Peterson case, that was one of my biggest cases. My reason for telling you that is every case for me is a case study. Yeah. And I'm looking at this guy, I'm looking at the husband, and I'm hearing all the wrong things coming out of his mouth.
Broke down. I don't know what to do. I did everything. I'm talking to people. We got people on it. We got people searching for it. I'm out of options. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do, but just wait. If you're watching this, please come home. Your family is missing you. I'm missing you. Your friends are missing you. Linda, we need you to come home, baby. Seriously. Need you to come home.
So before we get into that, let's just talk about a couple of the details.
Yeah, why don't you give everybody an overview?
So right now we know a CPS special education teacher has disappeared. It was routine, normal circumstances. She never came home. The police confirmed that this is an active investigation, but the details are limited, but we're learning a little bit more day by day. And because the details are so limited, Steph, the husband, as you mentioned, is speaking out. The missing woman's family is starting to speak out. So we can only infer what's happening. So who is Linda Kathleen Brown? She's a 53-year-old special education teacher at Robert Healy Elementary School in Chicago. She's been married to Antoine Brown for 11 years. They lived together in a Brownsville townhouse. She'd been on a leave of absence for several months, and she was scheduled to return to work on Monday, right before her disappearance. Now, her family, her own sister, has said that she had suffered from some sort of mental illnesses and she had sought treatment and time away from work. We don't know exactly what mental illness it was. We don't know if it could have been related to her disappearance or how it affected her life. So her husband says the last time he saw her was around midnight on Friday night going into Saturday morning. And this is important because every Saturday morning she would go and get acupuncture. She had a standing appointment. He said she was in bed when I went upstairs. Everything was fine. I don't know when she got up. So at some point between sleep, she got up, left the bed, and he was like, okay, it's just routine. He says that he left the house around 8:30 in the morning to go boxing. She went over to her she was supposed to go over to her standing acupuncture appointment. That's when she did not show up. So she was last seen then. Her phone is still on, according to her husband. I don't know if they're tracing or tracking her whereabouts through the phone. Her family called the police, and now the search continues. Steph, now obviously me and Steph are talking about this story for a reason, because it could be a routine disappearance, or it could be something else. And people, I've seen it all over the place, Steph. People are posting the husbands and scrutinizing and breaking down his reactions. Have you seen a pattern before? Because you and I sat and watched his videos.
Well, a couple of things. I thought that, first of all, he's a prime suspect because he was the last person to be with her.
And the spouse, right? Isn't the spouse always a...
Well, yeah, so he's kind of got a double, right, he's kind of got a double eyeballs, what we would call it. He's the spouse, and he was the last person to see. So remember, he's in the situation where he controls the narrative, okay? So his story was, I went up to bed, it was around midnight, and this is what struck me as unusual. Everything seemed fine, or everything seemed... That's a strange thing to say. Okay. We didn't say it and then, you're married, you get into bed, you kind of know her. And then he's like, I woke up and she was gone. He's a real heavy sleeper, but if Tony gets up, don't you kind of know, bye babe or whatever?
Yeah, I'm a light sleeper.
It's weird that he's just I got up and she was gone. And then I went about my day. So now the sister coming out and saying that she had mental health issues, as a non-trusting individual who is an investigative journalist, my first thing I'm going to look at is the relationship between the husband and the sister. Okay, I want to know what's going on. Is there a relationship between them? Do they, because I don't know.
You mean do they have a sisterly, brotherly, sister-in-law, brother-in-law relationship?
I'm not insinuating everything. I just want to know, what is the relationship cordial? Are they friendly? Are they cooperative? Does she hate him? Are they aligned? Are they not aligned? Because for the sister to come out and saying she had mental health issues, how is that helping? Now remember, her car was found Monday night From what I know, from what my sources are, they're not talking about what's in that car, what was found in that car. There's very little information about that car, but obviously that car is key. It was either key that she took that car, she left the home and took that car, and it was then somewhere, or somebody took that car with her in it, or we really don't have a lot to go on, and that's why I want to be careful about throwing the husband under the bus. But certainly, I'd be looking at him and all his relationships to the people around her, and find somebody's got to crack. Somebody has to know something. It was a short window of time. This is the most important thing. It's a short window of time, and it's a relatively small area. If we believe his story.
If we believe his story.
Let me just I'm making this up, everybody. Did something happen that night? Okay, that was it Friday night? I'm sorry, what night was it?
Going into Saturday morning.
He said, I went up and went to bed. So prior to midnight, and he's using midnight, did something happen between the couple where they got into an altercation, and because you got to look at it, he's got a big window of time to possibly do something if he wants to do something. Okay? I'm not saying I have any evidence, any information, but I would look at that. Where was the husband? Where was his phone? Was his phone traveling? Was he using his phone? Was his phone tracking in the house? Was her phone tracking in the house? Were any calls made? Does the cell phone usage line up with his story? She went to bed early. He went to bed here. So from 12 till whatever 7, there should be no cell phone activity.
Right.
Then from 7 or whatever time she left to go to acupuncture, she would be up. So there's a lot of things those are the things that I know for a fact that detectives would be looking at.
So, like you said, I want to talk about this car a little bit. So the initial concern from her husband, he says the car was found undamaged. The police have not confirmed this statement, but the husband says her blue Honda Civic was found undamaged. So it's tough to confirm if that was true or not.
How does he know it's undamaged?
I don't know, but the police have not confirmed that.
Let me look at everybody. How does he know that the car is not damaged? They would not have told him that. They would not have told him that.
And this is a direct quote from the husband. We found the car. CPD towed it. So perhaps he maybe had a look around and somebody called him and said, hey, we found your wife's car, and he showed up on the scene. That could be a plausible scenario, no?
It would be, no, I'm trying, it's a good question. I'm trying to think if they found the car, and this would be a great question for Michelle. They would more than likely, I don't know, because the husband would still be considered a suspect.
Yeah.
I don't think they would call him and bring him to, they would find the car, photograph it, film, and then take the car, and then tell him they would take the car, if I'm not mistaken, I think. So there's no reason for him, unless he was out searching and found the car.
Yeah.
Now again, there's a lot of, not misinformation, lack of information, but this is an interesting story.
Here's another direct quote from the husband. They don't track each other's phones. So there's not a Find My iPhone. He doesn't know her location. She doesn't know his location. There are also no cameras at the front or the back of their townhome.
Okay.
So we don't have any ring footage to see what time did she leave? When did she leave? Did someone meet her, take her car? Or did she get carjacked? We don't have any footage for that whatsoever. So
is that convenient or is that purposeful?
Well, because of this, there's no confirmed time of when she left the house. And we don't know even what direction she drove in. Did she drive in the direction of her standing acupuncture appointment, or did something else happen? Yeah.
If you're believing that narrative.
It's so early. And one thing that I would hate to do, because this could very well be a grieving husband that we're seeing, or a distraught husband that we're seeing that's looking for his wife. There is not anybody on earth that can tell me right now, unless you've been through that situation, how you're going to react if your spouse goes missing. I can't say what I would do. You can't say what you would do. There's no script that we should follow. So when I see people breaking down every movement of his eyes and how he's acting. Is he a psychopath? Is he a narcissist? People are already doing long TED Talks about this man and his state of being. I personally won't do that, because if there's an unfortunate scenario, if this ends really bad and we find out he had nothing to do with it, I don't want to be one of those people falsely accusing somebody who should have been able to simply grieve.
Ask me what I think.
I know you're an investigative journalist.
No. Look,
What do you think, Steph?
When I first saw him, the first thing I did is call my best friend, who's a sergeant with Chicago Police Department, and I'm like, "Huh?" She's like, "He's guilty," and I said, "Yeah." And the reason I thought that there was, because I've seen the pattern.
You've seen this
so
before.
I'm being cautious with. I'm saying this to you because this is a casual environment, and I don't want to throw him under the bus, but like I certainly hope I'm wrong, and if I'm wrong, then it's a case study in human behavior. But I just saw things because I sat this far from Drew Peterson himself, who lied to me, and I was waiting for him in his den. It was in a Bolingbrook. And you go in the house and they have that little den.
Remind people who Drew Peterson is.
Drew Peterson is a Bolingbrook police officer who is now in prison for murdering Kathleen Savio, his third wife, and Stacy Peterson from the Bolingbrook, Chicago area is his fourth wife. She's still missing. To this day, we believe that he killed her, but we don't. There's no evidence. There's no body. There's nothing. And this was a really great. He came downstairs. I'll never forget this. And I was sitting waiting for him. This big media store if you look it up. Mm-hmm. And he comes downstairs and he has a bottle of pills, sits across from me, and he puts a pill bottle down and slides it, and he goes, she was troubled. Look what she was taking. And then he says to me, she was a lot younger than me, and he goes, look at me. Look at her. Like she ran away. And
did you get this on camera, or you guys are just talking at that?
No, there was no camera at this point. It was
he brought you her pills
and said, to show me, and slid it.
So he's setting up that this woman's unstable, and
which is the sort of the she's troubled, which is what we're hearing from this guy. So I'm just again, it's a case that that was interesting to me because I believed him. In that moment, I'm like, yeah, it was really early on. I'm like, yeah, you know what? He's like 55 something, and she was beautiful in 20, and
they had I did not know there was that significant of an age difference.
Yeah, Stacy and Drew, not
because Stacy Peterson, that's the one that drew national attention. Because remind me of the facts of that case.
Stacy Peterson went missing from her Bolingbrook house. I can't remember what year it was.
She's not the one that was pregnant, right?
No, that's Lacey Peterson, Scott Peterson out of California. I worked on that case too. That was a death penalty case.
Okay.
So Drew Peterson is out of Chicago, Bolingbrook police officer, really abused. As we unravel the stories of an abuse of power, but he was a great liar. And oftentimes when women disappear, I've been doing this for 25 years. Oftentimes, it's the husband. Like it's just
probability
but there's
shows.
Times, right? But there's times when it's not. And we're in a culture right now where there's a lot of mental health issues. There's a lot of stuff. So when the sister brought that up, okay, understandable. But then, as a non-trusting investigative reporter who doesn't trust anybody, I'm like, what's the relationship between the sister and the husband? Mm-hmm. Like, is there something going on with them?
Are they cool? Do they hate each other?
Right.
Did she want her sister away from him? Like,
right.
There's so many
Was he
scenarios.
in love with the sister? I don't know. I'm just making it up.
This is not a Lifetime movie. This is
no, but you've got to ask all these questions.
So I'm curious about something.
Work backwards.
I'm curious about something. So this psychopath sat this close to you, brought you down this woman whose life you found out later that he took. Hey, Steph, he told you this sad story. You said, I believed him. Why did you believe him?
In that moment, because he was incredibly convincing. And he was it was interesting because he was throwing himself under the bus. He was doing that thing like, dude, like, look at me. Like, I'm old and ugly. She's he's like, he was acting like he was embarrassed. Like, look at me, look at her. Like, come on, what are you doing here? Like, look, she was on meds. She was beautiful. She took her bikini and she took off. Like, okay, Then within 5 minutes, I went next door to the neighbors and I got a completely different story.
Like, he's crazy.
So my window of believing him was about 15 minutes. But
what was the outcome?
Incredibly convincing.
Was it found that he did take her life?
We don't know.
Okay, she's not been found.
She's never been found. What happened was it opened the immediate attention on Stacy Peterson, opened the window to, wait, his third wife died mysteriously in the bathtub, and it was classified as an accident. And I'm like, wait, something's wrong. We got the I got the autopsy report from the family because they're like, nobody's listening to us. We went live. I was working for Fox News at the time. We went on Fox News, myself, Greta Van Susteren, and Dr. Michael Baden, one of the best, renowned pathologists in the country.
We got to get him on. We got to talk to him.
And said it was a murder, and it changed everything. Then the state exhumed her body, and the family came to me and said, we don't trust the states because they made a mistake the first time. And I'm like, great, let me talk to Dr. Michael Baden. Dr. Michael Baden allowed Dr. Michael Baden to do an autopsy, and I was allowed to be in the room. I was in the room when they performed the autopsy, and I filmed it. This is an old story. I'm not.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't want to digress, but my point is, because of that, it opened up Pandora, and then it realized this was a homicide, not an accident. Then we looked at all the paperwork, and it was just a terrible, sloppy police work cover-up. And it turns out that he went to trial, was charged with her murder, went to trial, and is now in jail. So
we're seeing the pattern of what happens. So sympathy versus suspicion. We got to call out the elephant in the room. This is a black husband named Antoine and his white wife with mental health issues.
There's that.
So then, are we harping on the black guy?
Didn't we just have this conversation about covering black stories?
Literally.
Here we are, but I'm like, and I'm literally, I really hope this guy is a victim. Like, I really hope he's not the perpetrator.
If he's
honestly,
a victim of the
when I was laying there thinking about it, because we were going to do this, I'm like, please, dude.
Please don't be. Don't do that. I hope you didn't kill that white girl.
I hope she wandered off. I hope she's okay.
And she's off.
I hope
maybe
we
she's in
find
an
her.
ICE detention center.
And I hope,
we don't know.
But you can't not make him a suspect because his actions may have led to her demise. And it's not because he's black, it's just because he's the husband. And he was the last person to see her alive.
I learned that not only from you, but from SVU. We always look at the spouse. Even if this was a dead man and it was a wife, we always look at the spouse. Olivia Benson taught me that.
Getting your information from SVU.
Hey,
your investigative skills from SVU, but okay.
So we don't know what time Linda left the house. We know her car has been recovered. We don't know. There's so much that we don't know. Well, this is the first 72 hours.
They would know what time her acupuncture appointment was.
Which she did not make it to.
Right, since it was a regular thing. And here's the other thing that I wanted to point out to people. When I'm looking at this from an investigative point of view, I know that she had to be somewhere. So say I do something to you. I know my gig is up when Naja doesn't arrive at this appointment. It's showtime. Right? So whatever, if I do something to you, I've got to have everything done
by this time.
And then they're going to be like, oh, she didn't show up. Oh, I don't know. I just woke up. So she didn't cancel her appointment, which, so if she's mentally ill or she's wandering, that would make sense. And I've heard of this before. I've heard of situations of people taking their clothes off in the wintertime and walking and freezing to death. That's kind of what mental health can do to you.
And we do know that she was on a leave of absence from her job.
Right.
Because of some sort of mental health issues. She had taken a leave of absence from her job, which leads me to believe, did she have some sort of break? And like you said, it's winter, Chicago. Has she wandered off? Are they going to find her somewhere in some sort of facility, hopefully, prayerfully alive? And then some of us are going to owe this man a big fat apology for even suspecting him. I'm not, because I'm just staying neutral about this.
Well, either way, that car is crucial because it's either she drove the car there to where it was, we don't know exactly where that location is, and left the vehicle on her own, or somebody took her and that vehicle there, or somebody took the vehicle there. There's really only three possible scenarios. So either way, that vehicle is key. There could be major evidence. There could be blood evidence in there. We don't know. There could be, so we don't, let's keep on top of this story. It's an interesting story. We don't have a lot going on. I hope for her safe return. We don't have a lot, but it's an interesting story. I'm glad we're jumping on it early.
And you know why? When I was getting dressed for this today, and I said, wait a minute, this lady disappeared. How many other people disappeared? Why is this the one that gets the media scrutiny and the media attention? Because I don't know I don't know the statistics about how many women go missing, people go missing every single day. We even, as part of the media, are sitting here talking about this one. This is something we picked up from the other news outlets. But I have my theories on why this is the one that's in the forefront and that's getting the attention. But
Checks the boxes. Pretty missing white girl. She's a school teacher. She's from they're in a very nice area. She's attractive. You know what I mean? It checks a lot of boxes.
Yeah.
So you asked me this last time we talked.
Yeah.
There's no, I don't know. Like, I don't know. But when I look at it, at the core of it, it's an interesting. So something's wrong. Something's wrong.
Is it a foul play story, or is this woman who has mental health issues anyway? Did she wander off? Like, she must have been better because she was supposed to be back at school at her CPS educator, her school teacher job this past Monday. So we know that leave of absence was over. But you take a leave of absence for some sort of mental situation. I don't know. I'm interested to see what the sister's going to say about the relationship between the two of them. I'm interested to see will this woman be found. But most importantly, I would be remiss if I didn't put it out front and center that this is yet another story of a missing white woman that we're telling that has garnered national attention overnight. And how many other people who have missing loved ones that are forgotten and not talked about. God bless all of them, especially the ones who don't have bright lights, camera, action all over them.
For me, it's like, is this a murder mystery or is this a mental health crisis, or both? I don't know. But let's keep on top. I'll keep on top of the story and circle back. I'm interested. I hope she's okay.
Yeah.
Certainly concerned. But I've seen this husband-wife scenario, before. So
Many times.
Again, I'm not throwing him under the bus. Not saying he's a suspect. He knows they were looking at him. Of course he is. He's the husband and last person to see her life. So stay tuned.
Stay tuned. We're going to take a quick coffee break and then we're going to come back with some breaking news on the story of the 31-year-old mother, Romika Meeks Blackman, that was gunned down in Chicago. Her killer just may or may not walk.
It's Naja news. It's news. You can't